Hey y'all. Listen, I wanted to go live, but I'm like, I don't know what I'm gonna talk about. And as I was sitting here, just really like looking back over my life, God brought something so significant to my remembrance, from my past. And it's the unusual supernatural power for me. Straight up. Like, I was just really going back and just looking over my life. Like, I think that sometimes we allow like our current circumstances or the people that just came into our life, to determine or dictate our identity and who we are today. But let me tell you something. You were called before them people came in your life, before those things happened and took place. Like, so anyway, so I'm going through just kind of thinking about some things over my life as I was growing up. And I thought about a moment when I was just like so overwhelmed. I felt like things were out of my control and I felt like I was suffering because of unfortunate circumstances. Like, I didn't ask to be put in this position. And so, y'all, when it was time for me to graduate from high school, right? This is my senior year. I'm in foster care. And I'm living like in a transitional living program with my daughter. And by this time, I had gone to literally, y'all, 13 different schools growing up. Out of my control. It's just the way God set my life up. Every year, I went to a different school. It's just how God set my life up, And I'm so glad about it, yeah, because I'm so diverse. Like, I got so much variety in my life. Like, God knew that I had to have a lot of variety. He created me to be so dynamic, So anyway, I went to all these different schools. And when it was time for me to graduate, y'all, they told me that I didn't have enough credits. So the reason why is because I'm in the city of St. Louis and things have definitely changed now. But when I was in high school, my senior year, every school district, high school had different expectations as it pertains to how many credits you needed, what classes you needed to take. And because I went to all these different schools, right, in different districts, it didn't all line up. It didn't match up, right? So there were classes that I took over again. There were some classes that I needed that I didn't take. So my transcript, y'all, was all over the place. Like, it was crazy. Like, some school years, I went to one school for a half a year and then went to another school. It was crazy. So I remember being in the office kind of frustrated because I'm like, yo, that's wild. So am I going to have to do more time like in high school? At this point, I'm over high school. I'm in my senior year. I got this baby. And y'all, what's crazy is my credits didn't scream senior, but I knew in my heart I was a senior. Y'all catch that later. So even on the papers, I didn't qualify to be a senior. I'm like, man, I did the time for this. So I'm a senior. I had the audacity. So I remember being in the office feeling frustrated because I'm like, yo, I don't want to have to do extra years. Like, I didn't ask for this. I'm like, I was justified. I went to all these different schools. It wasn't my fault. I was in foster care. Right. So I felt like I shouldn't have had to do extra time. I felt like I was being punished, all of that. So anyway, I had got it set up to where God placed things in my life to make it happen. Right. So my paperwork don't scream senior. I got the audacity saying I'm a senior. I know I'm about to graduate and I'm going to do it on time and I'm not doing extra years. And so I was able, y'all, I went and got my GED, long story short, and I didn't have to pay for it. And y'all, I literally this had to be the grace of God because there was curriculum and things that I didn't know because I shifted so many times, right? I was in all these different schools and I went in, y'all, and took that GED. I remember my teacher asking, like, are you ready? Do you think you're ready? And I'm like, I'm going to just go see what happens. Let me just go see what takes place. The only thing that I was really concerned about was my math because, all the different formulas and things like that. But reading, writing, history, I was only afraid of dates. Everything else, I'm like, man, I know I can read and write. Let's go. There's just a certain level of intelligence that the Lord has placed on my bloodline that's just unexplainable. So I knew I was going to be all right. So I go in, y'all, and I take the test. I catch the bi-state bus because I didn't have a car. I go down. I think I went to Harris Stowe State University, and it was all paid for. I showed up, y'all, and I killed that test. And I think it took like a week or two for the results to come back. But I'm sitting in there like, man, let's just see, because either way, I'm not coming back to this high school. Like, it's going to be this GED, or, I don't know what I'm going to do. But I knew that it was just unfortunate for me. You know, I was sad. I'm like, I don't want to have to do extra years in high school. I want to move on with my life. Like, I didn't ask for this. So anyway, y'all, the results came back and I passed the GED. So, because I was in high school, you know, they saw it fit that I go ahead and graduate because I did do the time. I was showing up, you know, I was in all these extracurricular activities. And so I was able to still even walk across the stage, y'all, and get my high school diploma, time served, right? And so I just wanted to really get on here and just encourage some of y'all. Y'all, like, you may feel like you feel delayed or behind, right? Just due to circumstances. And you like, some of this stuff just feels out of my control. I don't have the money, but you got big faith, right? Like, you believe in yourself so much so that you got the audacity to show up like, I know this about to happen in my life, right? Like, God is going to honor that. He is. He will honor that, y'all. So although it was unfortunate for me and I was frustrated, God still sent resources and people my way, right, to really usher me through so that I could walk across, so that I can cross over, right, and enter into this new realm, right? Like, I was done with high school. At this point, I got a baby. I'm moving into my first apartment. I don't have time for high school stuff again, you know, and so I was still able to finish out my senior year. And I just posted a picture because I was going through like my photos and stuff. And I'm like, oh my God, I really played the tuba. Like, don't sleep on yourself, fam. Like, you got to think about where you come from. You know, I know y'all probably looking like, this girl played the tuba. That's wild. I did. I was all about that bass back in 2006 and 2007. But, you know, you just really got to go over your life and just be grateful and thankful for the things that God has done. And let it be a reminder to you that He's still the same God. So that same God that provided resources and sent people my way to make sure that I still even graduated on time, that I didn't have to suffer just due to unforeseen circumstances. He like, yo, I can still do that for you in this season, daughter. So I'm just really expecting God to come through and like make some things happen in my life. Like, when you sick and tired of your current state, your current situation, where you are now, and God like, listen, you have walked this season out, you have suffered well, He gonna make a way, right? He gonna provide a way of escape, a way for you to be able to cross over. So I'm excited. So let that encourage y'all. Listen, like, He the same God today as He was in 2007 for your girl. You know, I ain't asked to have to go to, you know, all these different schools. That wasn't me, right? Like, so I'm like, God, you got to come through for your daughter. You got to come through. And for me, that was just so significant because, like, you know, as I look back, I'm like, well, God, if I was going to cross over on time, how come I couldn't have just done it the regular way? Like, why did it have to be so much, like, going on? Like, how come I couldn't just cross on over and just do what I needed to do and still make the destination? And God was like, because I needed you to have that little extra bit of sauce. I needed you to have double. And so check this out. So after I graduate from high school, I'm older now. My twin, well, not my twin brother, but my brother, who's a twin, ended up coming to live with me. And he was going through some things, you know, with his living arrangements and everything. So I allowed him to come and stay with me. You know, he didn't have all his credits. He wasn't able to graduate, and he was kind of frustrated. He was feeling delayed. He was feeling set back. He was feeling unworthy. And I remember having these conversations with him, right? And I told him, I said, bro, why don't you just go get your GED? And he was real resistant at first. He was just like, no, I'm not doing that. He felt like, you know, it was kind of like a downgrade. But I'm like, yo, bro, no, it's like the same. It gives you the same access. Like, this thing can still get you in college. It still qualifies you. You know, you just didn't do it the traditional way by going to, you know, graduating from a high school. But I'm like, I got my GED. And I remember he was like, no, you don't. You got a high school. I'm like, no, bro, I got a GED too. Like, and I showed it to him like, I got a GED too. It's really not that bad. And so he ended up, so I found a little place for him to go, and it was a lot. So he ended up getting his GED. But I say that to say that, you know, if I had not have had that experience, I couldn't have encouraged him, you know, to go forth and get what he needed and do what he got to do, right? So that he can go ahead and cross over into this new season of his life. And so, you know, sometimes we feel like, yo, God, why do you got me doing all of this if it's just going to be the same destination? But I'm telling you, God is just adding that little extra sauce, that extra anointing, that extra oil onto your life, that extra experience, so that when you come into contact with his people, the people that he called you to lead, you can encourage them. Like, if I had no idea of how it worked, I wouldn't have been able to, like, walk him through or encourage him. And I remember he was feeling, you know, defeated. He was just like, I don't know if I'm ready. And I remember telling him, like, yo, bro, just go take the test, like, and just see, you know, and even if you take, you know, because it's different sections of the GED that you have to take, like math, history, writing, reading, you know, all these different things. And I'm like, yo, bro, if you won't fail the whole test, you just go back and you study what it is that you missed, and you retake just that portion. But I was able to break that down to him. He was resistant. He didn't want to go step into a school or talk to, you know, case managers. Like, he didn't make it that far. So God had to use me, somebody that was close to him, to be able to explain to him what this process was for his life and kind of simplify it, you know, to encourage him so that he can just go ahead and get it done. Right. And so I think that sometimes we discount some of the things that God sends us through. Like, we forget. You know, it's those unusual things, those things that you may feel like that's insignificant in your life, those insignificant, quote unquote, experiences that you have that's really going to press somebody or push somebody next into the next dimension, into the next realm, you know. So that little bit of information, that encouragement that you have, that experience that you have is literally going to open up people, right, to step them so that they can go ahead and cross on over and step into their next. So for me, I'm like, okay, God, I see you. And then I just began to think about even more things that were even more significant in my life. And I just did a live on Instagram kind of sharing a little bit about this. But I just remember going to different schools every single year. And, you know, instead of seeing it as like a sad situation and tucking my tail between my legs and sitting over in a corner being all defeated, I decided I'm going to own every room I step into, right? Like, I'm not going to be the girl that's afraid to eat at lunch and don't know what table to sit at. I'm not like how they be on the movies where they get their lunch and they go in the bathroom. That wasn't about to be me. Taylor J was going to go find some friends. And so I would often find myself at the table where, you know, the outcast sat at, you know, encouraging them, being a friend. You know, I mean, I made so many friends, y'all. Like, I wasn't in a particular friend group or social status at the high school. Like, I was cool with everybody. You know what I'm saying? But I knew that I might not be here for long, right? I knew that I got this amount of time to make an impact, because in a minute, I'm probably going to have to dip. You know, let's just keep it 100. And so that's just kind of how I view my life. But I thank God for that, because, you know, I got variety in my life. You know, I'm able to step into any room and own it. I was even sharing about how, I remember, it's this place here in the city of St. Louis, where it was, called Larry Rice. And I remember going down into that facility, that atmosphere, and it was just homeless people, right? Like, this is what they did. You check in, you know, you have somewhere to sleep for the night, you get you a sandwich bag or whatever, get some food, and you got to be gone all day. But that's just what this place was. It was just filled with homeless people that have been chronically homeless. I don't even know if that's a word, for years, right? So these people were just homeless, you know, people dealing with unfortunate circumstances. And I was able to navigate those environments even as a little girl. But now that I'm older, I'm like, man, that's wild, because if God sent me back to that place, right, I wouldn't be uncomfortable. I would know exactly how to navigate a room just like that. And even, you know, just growing up as a teenager, God has always placed me at tables. Like, I remember being, I think, 18 or 19 years old, going to the Capitol, right? And this even takes it back, you know, like I graduated in 2007. And then in 2008, there was a law passed for foster youth so that they, you know, regardless of how many credits you had or any of that, you were still able to graduate on time, because they just recognized that it was just bad for people. You know, it was just horrible. These kids had to transition and transfer and move around. Credits would get lost. Transcripts would get lost. It was just a hot mess. And they didn't see it fit that they had to suffer and, you know, feel discouraged because they couldn't graduate due to their unfortunate circumstances, right? And so I was able to even go out into the Capitol and sit with these legislators and have these conversations and get these business cards. And so I'm like, man, God, thank you, Lord, for variety. Thank you, Lord God, for just placing me in different atmospheres, like extreme, like the pits, and also able to sit at, you know, legislative tables. I was on boards, right? I was in meetings. I was able to sit at tables with multimillionaires. At this whole time, I'm broke as a joke, right? I know I look like the struggle, you know, but these people were still very kind. But it was God placing me in those atmospheres so that I can get acclimated, right? Because of where I was headed in my life. And so now I could literally sit with the least of them and the best of them and be just who I am. Like, I don't have to turn it off and turn it on. Like, this is just who I am. I know how to conversate. I know how to, you know, build relationships. I know how to make an impact. I know how to listen. That's something that I really learned how to do. Listen. Sometimes we don't listen enough, right, to people. And so, you know, I thank God for variety, you know, I thank God for every test and trial, you know, and just even growing up, y'all, like, I just knew, I'm like, God, I know you're going to use me. I know you're going to use me in a significant way. You know, I always felt like the things that happened in my life were very unusual, but that's because God is going to use like unusual circumstances and unusual people, right, to display his glory in the earth. And so I'm like, God, let it be unusual. So for me, you know, I was sitting and I was just thinking about how I got a high school diploma and a GED. You know, that's unusual for me, you know, and I look at even my daughter. You know, I was about to go live. Then my daughter called and I thought about it and I said, well, look how God does that. My daughter graduated from high school, not just with her high school diploma, but with her associate's degree. So here I am graduating with a GED and high school diploma, but she graduating with a high school diploma and an associate's degree. And I'm like, God, it's only going to get better for my bloodline. Like every level gonna go up a notch. And so I'm like, man, you know, that's just unusual, you know, and stay away from people that try to make you feel like, you know, oh, that's normal. No, it's not. No, it's not. And I'm thankful. You know, I'm thankful. I'm so grateful, y'all. Like, y'all have no idea. So, yeah, I was just kind of looking back over my life and just being encouraged, you know, at how far he has brought me because, like I said before, sometimes we can allow current circumstances and people that are in our lives now cause us to determine or dictate who we're going to be or what it is that we can and can't do when that's not the case. Like God called you when he created you, when he created the foundation of the earth, like he had you in mind. He knew that he was creating you for a very specific purpose before you were even created in your mother's womb. And you can't tell me no different. Like you cannot. You know, so I remember being in the 4th grade, getting baptized and coming out the Mississippi River, being the very last person. Like I was legit, like there were buses upon buses of school buses with us, you know, all dressed in white, these white robes going to get baptized in the Mississippi River. And I'll never forget the pastor, he had this rope around his waist to hold him because the currents, right? Like it's the Mississippi, we in a river in the city of St. Louis getting baptized. And so they had this rope around his waist so that he wouldn't drift off. And he was baptizing people in this river. And I just remember being the very last person. And I saw every person go down. I was so intentional. Like, even sitting on a bus, I was seeing people go under and come out. And I remember being nervous and thinking about, God, what is this going to be like? You know, what is my life going to be like? Like as a little girl, you know, in the 4th grade. I remember being filled with the Holy Spirit, you know, at that age. And during this time, me and my mother was living in a homeless shelter. I was being bullied real bad. Like they was calling me shelter girl. And everybody knew that I lived in a shelter. Like I would have to fight on my way home from walking from school. Like I was in the 4th grade. I would walk home from the elementary school to the shelter. And them kids would follow me and they would bully me and they would tease me. And one day I learned how to fight. I said, you know what? Y'all not going to keep talking about me. Like, this ain't my fault, and it was just unfortunate, that I was picked on and bullied because of my unfortunate circumstances, and so even in that moment, I didn't shrink down. I still felt like that girl, I still felt like God was going to use me. And I didn't know God like that. I wasn't reading a word. Like, I didn't have none of that. But I had a deep belief down in my spirit that I knew that God was with me. I just knew it. And even as a little girl, like, I've been a seer my entire life, like dreams and visions, even open visions. And I would see angels and things as a little girl. And I remember him showing me like glimpses of my future. I just knew it. I knew it. Like, there was nobody that could tell me that I wasn't special. I remember even as I got older, being with a guy, we drinking and we kicking it. Let's start here, y'all. I'm amped now. I feel the Holy Ghost. I'm amped. I would even be in clubs, y'all, drinking, kicking it, laid up, and I would be encouraging people, telling them like the goodness of the Lord. Whole time I couldn't read this book. I didn't know what thus and thou meant. None of that, but I knew it was a God. And what was so significant was, as I gotten older and started reading the word, I'm like, that's wild. The word really was in my DNA, because some of the things that I was reading, I was saying, I was quoting, I'm like, now that's special. Now that's significant, right? Like, you couldn't tell me that God wasn't with me, as a teenage mother navigating resources, like, coming into contact. I would, even be encouraging like my boyfriend's mothers. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, child, I've been called. You got to know that for yourself. You've been called. When God created the foundation of the earth, you've been called, right? You've been anointed. You've been having purpose. Man, I'm amped now, y'all. Like, I just been thinking, I'm like, God, he has brought me through so many things, y'all. Like, even those things that I don't even know if I will ever share. Like, I just remember moments feeling like, this the end of Taylor J. This is the end of me. So, y'all, I'm just grateful to be alive, y'all. And I was sharing earlier, too, about how, when you experience specific traumas in your life, like when you experience near-death experiences, it's just something in you that just shifts. When you are delivered and you are saved and you living for God, it's extremely difficult to go back, because them demons really do come back 7 times worse. Like, they really do. And so I went through a season where I was delivered, I was set free, I'm, doing the things of the Lord. And then I went back into the world. And y'all, I experienced things and done things that I never thought that I would do. Y'all, it got real. And I'm like, yo, if I go back at this point, the enemy gonna take me out. And so it was like that period of my life just being at the lowest of the lowest, right? It just really snapped me back. I came to myself and I realized, like, I can't die like this. I knew that I was called. I knew that I was better than the environments that I allowed myself to be in, right? I let these environments and these people consume me up, and man, and so it's like when you get sick and tired of just trying to figure things out on your own, and you realize you really can't do it in your own strength, and what God got for you and his word and his presence is safety. Like, you shift, it's like, you're not going to just let people talk to you any old kind of way. You're not going to let people treat you any old kind of way. You're not going to be in just ratchet ghetto, environments like that, unless you going in to like snatch some people out of hell. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just a standard, that you have over your life. And it's just automatic because you realize and recognize, like, I deserve more than this. You know what I'm saying? So don't allow people to place you in a box and make you feel like you're not called or you're not who God says that you are. People will dumb you down. They will make you feel like just because you don't do certain things or you don't have certain things or you don't run with certain crowds and cliques that, you're less, you're not valuable. You know what I'm saying? Don't allow people to make you feel like that, because let me tell you something. People will make you feel like you're not called if you let them. They sure will. Period. Let's see who on here. Man, Ashley, them demons come back strong. I said, man, I can't believe I'm in this low place. Like, I'm going to tell that story one day. That's going to have to be a whole book by itself because, y'all, that there was something to experience. And I know that there might be people who may not sit back and admit that, you know, they probably went back, you know, and experienced things on a deeper level, but I did, and it was not fun. And I'm like, at this point, I can't go back. That was horrible. Man, hey, Lydia. Yes, God is doing some amazing things in my life. I'm really excited about just my future. And I shared a post the other day that I really learned how to, like, fall in love with the process at an early age because, y'all, just growing up, all I had was a vision. All I had was what God showed me through dreams concerning my future. And it looked a whole lot better than what I was looking at in the natural. So I'm like, I'm going to roll with that. I really believed God, y'all. Like, I still believe God. You know, I still believe it. And I know people may, you know, listen, if God said it and I seen it, I'm about to see it. Periods. I got the audacity today. And every day. And, you know, I was just really thinking about how, like, even David had to go back out into the field and go tend to the sheep after dude been, like, anointed publicly. Like, it's like that little season in which, like, you know you're anointed, you know you're called, the Holy Spirit is, you know, dwelling on the inside of you so strong. You feel Jesus standing up on the inside of you. And you like, but nothing looks different. It looks the same. You know, my environment is the same. You know, the people around me aren't changing. My finances are the same. I don't see my family being set free. You know, like, you don't see the changes. All you waiting on is a phone call. All you waiting on is an opportunity. And you know, I even learned how to just really enjoy even that moment, you know, the valley season where, you know, you feel it on the inside of you. But I really do believe that that's God's way of just really preparing you, because after you're anointed, you know, sometimes that belief can rub off a little bit. When things don't seem to be changing, you can kind of begin to question and doubt it. And God is like, listen, let me strengthen your faith even in this season. It's not necessarily of what you can do or who you're connected to or titles, but it's about who you are. And so are you a person that's working and believing and working and believing? Like, I believe God. You know, and people will try to say, well, you know, she faking it till she making it, or he ain't barely got two nickels to rub together. How dare he say, you know, that he this and he that. Listen, this big faith over here, if you can believe, you know, that you are who God says that you are, and that you're going to be who he says that you're called to be soon, and things don't look nothing like it looked in the visions and dreams, like, you bad. I'm telling you, like, one day you're going to look up and you're going to say, man, I remember when, like, I believed even then. You know, let that be your testimony. And that's another thing that I do too, y'all. Like, as I'm like in this journey, I be like writing the testimony. I'm like, oh, this finna make this testimony juicy. God gonna get all the glory, like, for real. So y'all better start writing that testimony now. I be thinking like that. I'm like, man, that's going to be a part of this testimony. I get really excited about it. I'm really excited about the journey, really excited about the process. You know, it don't feel good. It's uncomfortable. And if you allow it to consume you and put you in this dark place, it will. But, you know, if you got faith, I'm telling you, that's all you need. The size of a grain of a mustard seed. That's it. I'm telling you. And so my prayer has been, God, like, increase the belief in me. Like, God, I want to have like big faith. And when I tell y'all, you know, I just been really praying for God's perfect will over my life. I'm like, after all the hell that I done been through, after all the hell that you done been through, right? Like, you don't want to just settle for just, you know, the regular. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want everything God got for me. Like, you want to see the fullness of God's blessings in your life. Like, I want everything that he got for me. Everything. After all the hell I done been through, child, I want it all. Unusual favor, unusual blessings. It's the wonders of God. I want to see his wonders, like, flow through my life. You know, I want to be wild, jaw drop. Like, I want to take off running, screaming and, you know, screaming what the Lord has done for me. I want to be that excited because, like, you know, going through hell in my life, like, it was that deep, right? Like, I remember tears and crying and screaming out in anger, with frustration and the public humiliation, all of that, being talked to, having to, after you've been verbally abused and mishandled and picked over and talked about and, knocked down and, opportunities swept from up under your feet, and just going through things. It's like, I want to experience the goodness of the Lord on that level, on the flip side. Like, I'm not going to just settle, right, for the regular. After all the hell I've been through, like, God, he gonna do it. I promise y'all. Like, I'm like, God, you gonna get the greatest glory out of my life. Because at this point, I know I'm not going back. I'm not dealing with them demons ever again. Yeah, and it's like and I'm not going to remain stagnant. Like, I don't want to remain the same. It's like all I got is what God got for me. And if I can endure all of that pain in the past, surely I can handle some growing pains. Surely I could, step out and do things on another level. Surely I can overcome criticism. Surely I can overcome fear. Surely I can make it through a season of, not having enough. Surely I can, after all the hell that I've been through and after everything that I've had to endure, surely I can give all this to God, and see. That's all I got, y'all. Straight up. And it's crazy because, like, even growing up, I just never been the same. Like, I'm always pursuing growth. I'm always pursuing next level, always pursuing change. And for some people, it don't make sense. Like, right? So, like, if you knew me 6 months ago, I'm not that girl. I got more courage. I got more knowledge. I'm more patient. I've been in my word a little bit more, right? I could literally go into prayer and come out brand new because God has shifted my thought process. He done renewed my mind, right? I don't do the same things that I did yesterday, and sometimes that could be difficult for people around you because, but I'm shifting, I'm moving. I don't do that no more, sis. I don't do that no more, bruh. That ain't who I am no more, right? So, like, I'm telling you, if if you watching me you'll wear yourself out. Because I'll be over here killing it and God will give me something and I'll get into prayer and I'll ask God for new revelation and new instruction. And before you know it, I'm gone. Like people asking me, Taylor, you still doing flyers? Barely. I'm gone. I'm on something else. I done went up another level. So that's the same with you. Don't allow people to place you in this box, right? And criticize you for growing and shifting and changing. No, that's what God wants us to do. He don't want us to remain the same. Life too short, right? Life is too precious for me to just settle. I want some excitement, straight up. Like, I want to enjoy life, and it ain't always about, how much money you got. Yeah, I would love to travel and do things, but I've really learned to fall in love with the process, with the journey. Like, it's a challenge for me. So y'all listen, on Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday, I'm doing a briefcase summit. So some of y'all may feel like, yo, God gave me this amazing idea, this amazing plan, but I don't really know where to get started. You need connections. You need people. You need resources. It's time out for just acquiring all of this knowledge and all of this inspiration, but it's time for us to really do the work, right? And to really secure a firm foundation. Thank you, Jackie. And that's what the Lord been speaking to me about this just being really a season of just building strong foundations and transformation and renewal. Life will beat you down, y'all. Like everyday life, everyday living, doing the same old, you can become weary in your well-doing and all of that. And so it's just really time for a fresh start. It's spring. Flowers are going to begin to bloom, so it's time for you to bloom as well. So I'll share the link for the briefcase summit. It's going to be really fun. I'm excited about it. I'm cool with the people that register now. I'm like, if nobody else registers, I'm totally okay with that. I did do a pay what you want offer. It's gone. It's $50. That's it. Like, you know, show up online, come get some knowledge, make some connections, you know, so that we can really go to the next level. Like, we gonna build together, you know. It's so much information online. You know, it's so many people selling so many different things, but I definitely have the spirit to give people what they need so that they can really bust a move. You know, I don't want us just sitting on information, but I really want us to start applying what it is that God gave us, you know, with courage, because it's scary sometimes, you know, when you have to put out all of this money and maybe you don't got it like that. I need about 4 trademarks, y'all. I don't got it. Not to do it the right way, not the way that I know that I need to do it, right? You know, because if you hire an attorney or something like that, it's going to cost you some thousands, right? I'm like, I need these trademarks. And so I'm like, God, I know you're going to do it. If it's in your perfect will, that's what I've been praying. You know, if it's in your will, God, I know that you're going to do it for me. It's just a matter of when, right? I got big faith like that. I'm like, God, I know he's going to check off all these trademarks as long as it's in his will. You know, so I'm just kind of like, whatever you want me to do today, Lord. So I'm not going to stress about, you know, the thousands that I need. I need $30,000 for something. I'm like, God, I don't got that for that. But it's going to happen, watch. And I'm going to get right here on this live and I'm going to tell y'all all about it. Yeah. Y'all know how when people share stuff online today, you know, online community, and then they don't give updates. I'm like, sis, no, I was kind of invested in that. So what happened with that? I'm going to update y'all. When I get that 30 grand for this thing, I'm going to tell y'all about it. Yep. You can teach it if you done it. Yes. So yeah, anyway, y'all, come to the Briefcase Summit. I'm excited about it. You know, tax time rolling around. We don't want to be cheating the system. One thing that I learned is that sometimes we try to cheat the tax system, right? So that we don't have to pay a lot. But you're hindering yourself when it's time for you to start making major moves and making investments, right? You want your tax records to reflect like the big money that you're called to be. Like, you know, you literally, you might get out of paying taxes, or you might feel like you're cheating the system, but you're not really setting yourself up for success, right? And so like, if God calls you to run multi-million-dollar companies, like, you can't be worried about, you know, certain things. You got to really think on another level, and God will provide. He will provide everything that you need concerning his will for your life. He will. I know he will. I mean, he just did it again for me. I told y'all last time I was live, I'm like, I got to be somewhere, and I prayed, and God literally sent a very specific seed. I'm traveling somewhere, and the person got on my inbox, was like, are you traveling somewhere? The Lord told me to send you money for a plane. You know, so like, even just now, I'm like, God, I don't got it. So I sowed a seed. I'm like, I don't got it. God, you gonna have to make a way, because I don't got that for that. And I sowed a seed. I said, I'm gonna sow this seed, because if it don't meet the needs, sow the seed. Ain't that what they be saying? And yeah, it came back straight tenfold. I'm like, that's wild. So it's sowing and reaping for me. You know, I'm like, God, I'm going to sow my way up out of this. I'm going to sow and serve my way, clean up out of this, clean into the next realm, clean into the next thing. Right. And so you just got to know, you know, God going to cross you over. So anyway, I just wanted to get on live and encourage y'all, you know. I wanted to go live so bad earlier, y'all. And I was like, I don't know what I'm going to talk about. And because I had the desire, God, like, let me give you something, daughter. Let me give you something for the people. So y'all, thank you all for joining my live. And shout out to all the people that's coming back to listen to the replay. Yeah, so you all enjoy. I really hope to see y'all at the Briefcase Summit. You know, I really enjoy coaching. I do. And collaboration. It's going to be fun. It's going to be a really good time. You know, it's going to be laid back. We won't have to have all the extra theatrics and things, but it's definitely going to be some good information. We're going to have a good time. And I'm really excited about the people that said yes. So And I do like an online thing now every year around this time. So first year we had extreme execution. That was fun. That was so much fun. And that was my first one, y'all. I was so nervous. I think it was $20. Yeah, it was $20. I was so nervous. And I got all these people to say yes. And we had a really good time, y'all. And then last year I did Takeover. That was fun. And so, yeah, so this year we're going to do the Briefcase Summit. And then later on this year, probably at the beginning of next year or something, we're going to do another Briefcase in person. It's going to be even bigger. I'm excited because last year we had Starbucks and Chick-fil-A sponsored food. But this year I'm like, let's see what we going to get. I want to be able to give away like dope stuff. Like we gave away electronics, ring lights. We gave away headphones, you know, things like that. But I want to be able to give away like big stuff, like stuff that might have been on your list. Like I want to give away MacBooks and, you know, I want to do stuff like that, like on the next level that could really like set your business up, set up your media game. Yeah. So it's going to be lit for the next Briefcase in person. Yep. And we did headshots. The headshots came out really nice. So that's big because people be still sending me selfies for y'all flyers. Come on, people. Stop. Get you a nice headshot, okay? You need a headshot, a professional one, you know? And we got these $1,000 phones, right? And so if you feel like I don't got the money for a headshot, get real cute, you know, get up on a white wall and, you know, take you some pictures, you know, nice little headshot. Make sure it's clean. Make sure your shoulder isn't cut off because that's annoying in graphics too, you know. I'm like, what I'm going to do with this little cut off shoulder? Yes, Lydia Rose, you can have what you say. That's it. Yeah, so get y'all some headshots, some nice photos. Get up with a good photographer, you know. And I know that sometimes we feel like, oh, well, they're a photographer and, you know, they're really good. You got to really look at their work, you know, to kind of see if that's what, you know, if they have the quality that you're looking for. And I know we like to support people and things like that, but when it comes to your brand, you got to make sure it's on point, all right? So anyway, I love you all. Hope to see you all at the Briefcase Summit. And shout out to the people that be watching the live but don't click to like enter into the room. Like I call it like you in the doorway. So shout out to y'all for stopping by and listening to my video. And thank you all for the stars. I love stars. Let me know I'm talking good. Anyway, I love you all. I pray that you all are encouraged. And I will see you all in the next video.